What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be updating our non-restricted regulationG tier list. First of all, before I get any rage in the comments by what you see on the screen, this tier list that you see right now is not mine. This was someone else's, and all we're doing is we're basically adapting it and we're going to update it based on what we feel is best. And the reason why I'm using this particular tier list is they did a lot of the hard work for me. They've already isolated the pre-evolutions and the baby Pokemon here. Look at this. Like, the fact that I didn't have to do this already. Look, there's also the restricteds. So the fact that I didn't have to do this saved me like an hour of work. Okay, maybe even more. So whoever this person is, thank you very much. So all I'm gonna do is just update this list, which is a lot easier and a lot faster and a little bit less video time, which is good, right? So this way we get the main points in. And then all we did was, like, we just combined a couple of tiers together and then renamed them based on how we're gonna do our tier list. So everything is gonna move up, everything is gonna move down based on what we feel is best. Okay, I'm just simply adapting this tier list for ourselves. Okay, so first of all, the S tier is what we say the best of the best. These are gonna be the best mods in the format. They're gonna be most of the common staples that you might find on a lot of different teams. Great stats, great ability, of course, and great viability and flexibility on a lot of different teams, especially when you consider the restricteds. They are decent checks to some of them as well. The A tier, this is what we call the strong and consistent tier. So maybe not quite the S tier, right? Maybe not as splashable on every single team, but still very, very good and solid options. Then we have the B tier, which we've broken up into two sections. We have the high B tier and then we have the low B tier. High B tier means, you know, these are still like very, very good mods, you know, not as good or as strong as the A tier, but they have roles that they can play on a few teams, and therefore they're pretty good. Then we have the low B, right? These are still like okay, but they need a little bit more support to, you know, function, you know, to its fullest potential. And then down here we have what we call the C tier, and this is what we call the niche. Now, these are options that are good on like mainly one type of team, or they have one type of role, and then outside of that role, they're just not that good. So that's what this tier is for. And again, that doesn't mean they're bad. They just have a defined role only, okay? You know, you don't want them, you don't want to ask these Pokemon to do too many different things because they're not that good at those jobs. You just want them to do one role and one role only, and hence that is the niche. Then we have this D tier, which is basically, you know, a bunch of Pokemon that are not viable within VGC, especially in a restricted format. So yeah, and again, some of these are going to move up, okay? So not all of these are D tier. Like I said, I'm just simply adapting a tier list given to me, all right? And of course, these are the pre-evolutions that we're not even going to touch at all, all right? So now that we've explained the tiers, let's go ahead and let's start moving things up and down, starting with the S tier over here. Okay, so let's start here at the S tier. So are we going to keep Incineroar at the S tier? Absolutely, yes. I think, you know, in a restricted format like this is where Incineroar shines even more than the non-restricted format. So think back to like Regulation H. Incin was good there, right? It took some time to find its footing, but it ended up, you know, rising, you know, right back up into the S tier. And then now in the restricted format, even more so. With so much power creep, you can't let these big legendaries click, you know, their big, you know, damage moves there. So you need some way to mitigate all that damage, especially the Calyrex Shadow Rider. So the dark typing helps a lot there. Then you've got Will-O-Wisp, and then you got Parting Shot. So you got to weaken these things, right? And Incineroar can do that for you. It helps you get positioning with that Parting Shot, so that's also really good. And again, Fake Out Pressure just lets you, you know, stop one attack, obviously, and then just lets you set up nasty plots, you know, Calm Minds, Swords Dance, whatever it is you want to set up on your end. The Incineroar can help you do that with Fake Out. Same thing over here with Rillaboom. Just like Incin, we call these the Fake Out Bros. Often they're going to be paired together on a lot of different balance teams where you can click Fake Out and set up something like a Calm Mind or a Nasty Plot from a Calyrex or a Terrapagos, and then or even like Kyogre too, right? And then you just have Terrain, which is really good against Miraidon, right? You know, you can't let Miraidon do whatever it wants in electric terrain. You got to be able to at least mitigate some of that damage. Rillaboom can do that. And then at the same time, you resist some of that electric damage, and you know, you do have that Assault Vest that can help you do that too. So Rillaboom, very, very good. Pressures also Urshifu Rapid Strike, which is also within the S tier right here. So, you know, just be aware of that. I think Urshifu, again, just like, you know, these guys, Fire, Water, Grass Core, easily one of the staples on a lot of different balance teams. And again, you know, fake out surging strikes is really good because again, if you want to protect against fake out, you can't protect in front of surging strikes because of unseen fist. And if you want to pivot out of the unseen fist, then something else has to come in, and that's basically just free damage, right? So yeah, Urshifu really good with a fake out mod. Then you've got Amoonguss here. Now, you know, back when regulationG first started, you know, within the summer, it took a while for Amoonguss to also find its footing just because there was so much Miraidon terrain that you can't really click Spore, right? But, you know, people soon realized this, look, man, you know, Amoonguss got 3 other moves that it can click. And the fact that you have redirection support and the fact that you have this mushroom to be able to help you in some of your Trick Room matchups is still like very, very good. So now you start to see, you know, the Amoonguss on these Calyrex Ice Rider teams. And we covered this in our, you know, Rio de Janeiro regionals video, you know, before this video. So this is always going to be a good starting point right now. Then you add Incineroar, and now you've got a very, very good Calyrex Ice Rider, you know, core. And you're going to see this as you head into San Antonio too, right? So, you know, just be aware of that. But again, also, you know, Amoonguss has Clear Smog, which is great into Dondozos, right? You know, because again, those Dondozo teams are going to be paired with those Calyrex Shadow Riders. They're going to keep clicking their order ups and body presses, and you need some way to remove all those buffs. Amoonguss can do that for you. And then at the same time, Amoonguss's greatest role, I think right now, is a very nice tool against Zamazenta. Because again, that typing that it has is going to be able to resist the body press. Heavy Slam is not doing all that much damage. And because Zamazenta only really has single target moves, the Amoonguss is going to be really good against it. And then you can just Spore it too, right? So Amoonguss, very good for that Zamazenta matchup as well. So all of those things, you know, we're keeping that within the S tier. Okay, Miraidon doesn't knock it down enough. So now over here, let me go back here to Raging Bolt here. Oh, I can't even actually do it. All right, there we go. So Raging Bolt, I also think Raging Bolt can be in the S tier. Again, also very splashable on a lot of different balance teams. You can also use this on, you know, those Trick Room teams because Raging Bolt is, you know, somewhat relatively slow. You can also use these on a Sun team like Koraidon / Groudon. You've got Electro Web for speed control, which is really nice. And then at the same time, you've got Volt Switch, so you can always pivot your Raging Bolt in and out, especially on those Miraidon teams where you have to like reposition yourself. So that's also really nice. And then at the same time, you've got Thunderclap, which is great at pinning the Urshifu slot. So this way, if they want to click Surging Strikes, you Thunderclap them and they can easily melt, right? So I like this. And then you've got the big nuke with Draco Meteor. You can take out something immediately. Sometimes you also have these Assault Vest builds where you can also just simply Snarl and go for damage mitigation like this. So I think this is also like another type of set that you might see moving forward. Sometimes they can go Terra Electric, sometimes they can go Terra Fairy, which again neutralizes the Dragon weakness and also resists the Zamazenta body press. So all in all, Raging Bolt, lots of good variants, lots of good viability on a lot of those balanced teams. Okay, Life Orb also hurts a lot. So I do think it also belongs within the S tier, you know, within these guys. All right, these two, I'm going to drop these two down to the A tier. I think they're also very, very good, but I don't think they're quite within the S tier. So Fluttermane, obviously, you know, has always been a very, very strong Paradox Pokemon, even without restricteds. But the role of Fluttermane changes a little bit with so much Shadow Rider too. Again, you are weak to that. So, you know, Booster Energy will help you outspeed it. But at the same time, you also need to let your allies outspeed the Calyrex. So one way to do that is to go for these Icy Wind Thunder Wave sets. So a little bit more of a support this time around for Fluttermane, but still very good. And then you might even have something like Taunt here. Some of these Fluttermanes are giving up Protect and just going for Taunt here. So you can stop, you know, setup. You can stop Rage Powder. You can stop Trick Room potentially, and just neutralize the opponent a little bit. And force them to switch out if they want to, you know, reset their taunt debuff. And then the Thunderwave Para Hacks. Listen, 1 paralysis is all it takes to win a game / lose a game. So this is also very effective speed control, and it's permanent, right? So even if they were to switch it out, the Thunderwave Paralysis still stays there, of course. Moonblast, very good against, you know, the dragons and the Urshifus that are running around. You do have the option to go Terra Grass here, which is what a lot of these Fluttermanes do, to be able to resist the Urshifu single strike. And then also, you also see sometimes the occasional Terra Fairy for a little bit more Moonblast damage. But again, you're going to do well into the Raging Bolt, you're going to do well into Urshifu, and sometimes Miraidon as well, right? So Go figure that. But again, Flutter Mane's role is a little bit different. Sometimes you used to see the choice specs variant, right? A little bit more aggressive Flutter Mane back in like some other formats, but not so much this time around. I think just the booster or even like the focus sash set have been Flutter's best 2 items. And for good reason, right? Because again, getting that speed advantage is going to be important for you. So any kind of chip and damage mitigate, not really damage mitigation, but speed neutralization is going to be good, and Flutter Mane does do that for you, even if you don't have Tailwind. Speaking of Tailwind, Tornadus can do that. Tornadus very good with Urshifu teams because you can enable the Urshifu because you have Tailwind and Rain Dance, which is really good, right? So we'll put that here. And it also not only enables the Urshifu, I can't type here, right? It also enables another genie, which is Landorus Incarnate. So sometimes you might see 2 or even 3 of these together. So, you know, you can bring out the Rain Dance, and now Landorus can go for these Sandsear Storms and 100% accurate in the rain. The Urshifu just does more damage in the rain with Surging Strikes. And then at the same time, you also have Taunt, so Prankster Taunt. That's also going to be helpful sometimes. You do have Bleak Wind Storm here. Of course, that's your main double spread move here that you can get a speed reduction there. Sometimes you'll see the occasional Icy Wind, which is okay. And then sometimes besides Rain Dance, you might even see Sunny Day, which could enable these 2 Pokemon. You can enable the Flutter Mane this way because of photosynthesis, and you can also technically enable the Chi-Yu because now the Chi-Yu with its fire type attacks, you know, Heat Wave or Overheat, you enable the Chi-Yu with the Sun in that sense, right? And then you can take away rain from those Pelipper teams, which is also relatively helpful. So AT for sure. Same thing with Chi-Yu. I think Chi-Yu, Chen-Pao, all of these Paradox, they stay the same. They're going to stay within the A tier. Landorus, I also think, is within the A tier. Great Miraidon matchup, you know, because you have that ground typing. And again, what's really good about Landorus too is that Landorus with the speed of 101 is always going to be 1 point faster than a Chi-Yu. So you get to outspeed that. And for those reasons, you're definitely going to stay within the A tier over here. So Clefairy can be used a little bit. I do think Clefairy does not belong in the A tier. I think we're going to drop it, but not all that much. I do think it's quite good on those Calyrex teams. So we'll keep it within, I'm going to put it right here just so I know the new additions that I add. So any new addition, I'll just put it on the left side. And then afterwards, you know, if I drop things, I'll just put them down at the end. So this way I know that that's what I dropped. But yeah, Clefairy, you'll usually see these on these Calyrex teams. Sometimes you'll see it on Terrapagos as well. Just because it gets to redirect the fighting damage against the Terrapagos because you're a fairy, you resist it. So you'll see Clefairy Calyrex teams, right? The Calyrex Shadow Rider, or sometimes you'll see Clefairy the Terrapagos, right? Yeah, here we go. So either or, these are the most common restricteds that you'll see it paired next to, and for good reason. Again, you get Friend Guard, man. Friend Guard, again, is really good in a restricted format. You gotta reduce all that damage that's coming out. Calyrex also gets to stay on the field a little bit longer. It's not super bulky. It's not paper, but you know, sometimes that 4 times weakness to Ghost and Dark sometimes is not all that great. Same thing with Terrapagos here. If you can mitigate damage like close combats or drain punches with Clefairy here and redirect all that, that's gonna help it stay on the field for a little bit longer. So I do think high B tier is correct. Then Whimsicott also stays. Same thing with Fergaf. These 2 are definitely going to stay. Again, with Whimsicott, more speed control, usually found mostly on those Miraidon teams. Encore is really good. Tailwind's really good. And Moonblast, again, being able to hit Chen-Paos, hit Urshifus, hit other dragons with is also really good. And again, Encore, very, very crippling in itself. Really good prankster Pokemon besides Tornadus. And you're faster than Tornadus too. So yeah, Ferrigaf, again, in a format where there's so much priority, you're going to be very, very good. So, you know, just Armor Tail, stopping Fake Outs, stopping Aqua Jets, stopping Sucker Punches, stopping Thunderclaps. Very, very important in helping your Pokemon stay on the field. And then at the same time, you know, really good partners with something like Regidrago, Zacian squads, but also on those Miraidon teams. Because again, you get to stop Rillaboom from clicking Grassy Glides and Fake Outs. You have Helping Hand access, and then you also have Trick Room for more speed control. So I do think Ferrigaf is a great mon. Pelipper also staying within the A tier here. Again, this bird has a very important move in Regulation G, and that is Wide Guard, okay, along with Weather Control, obviously. But Wide Guard in a format where there's so much spread move, if you've got Wide Guard, you're probably going to have at least a C tier niche, all right, and without even considering anything else, stats or abilities or even other moves. But if you've got Wide Guard, you're going to have some usage. And then at the same time, obviously, you have Rain, which means you get to enable the Urshifu, just like the Tornadus Rain Dance. And then by bringing out the Rain, you get to reduce damage for your Zamazenta and for your Calyrex from the fire type attacks, because again, fire does not do that much in the rain. So by having Pelipper on these teams helps a lot, because you're basically removing one big weakness to both of them, right? And like we said, Wide Guard is going to be very helpful against, potential mirrors, and other restrictors that want to click spread moves too. So yeah, good job, Pelipper. The Ogerpon. So Ogerpon, in the beginning of like Regulation G back in the summer, did not start this way at the A tier, but Sturdy is so good, man. Like, don't underestimate. This is why Bastiodon got usage, because Bastiodon also had Sturdy. But again, being able to at least guarantee survival with 1 HP is going to be huge. And you are a redirector, so you'll often see these on these Calyrex teams, which is really nice, just to try and set up Trick Room, right? You'll also see the Ogerpon Cornerstone on some of those Koraidon teams, also really useful there. But I think the Heart Flame is the best Ogerpon, just because it's really good against Rillaboom, whereas this Ogerpon is not. But again, Sturdy is very good. You get to hit a lot of the flying attacks. You get to hit a lot of the ice types too. And also technically Incineroar as well, right? So really good option there with the Cornerstone on some of these teams. So I do like it here within the A tier. Blood Moon Ursaluna, another one, also very good. Do I put this in A or do I put this in high B tier? So here's the thing with Blood Moon. You are a ground type, and that means you do have immunity against Miraidon's electric type attacks. And then at the same time, you don't take Astral Barrage damage because you are a normal type 2. So I do like Blood Moon. I think you're either in like high B tier or like low A, but I do like it within this tier. I don't see it dropping anytime soon within the format. Like, we're 4 months into this format, and Blood Moon Ursaluna is still looking very, very good. So I think I'm going to keep it here. I think A tier is correct, but I can see myself dropping it down to the high B tier. Like, I'm not so sure yet. Let me think about this. Like, again, you also have something for Urshifu, and also for something for Raging Bolt there. I'm gonna keep it in low A. I'm gonna say low A tier for now, but I won't like move its position per se. I think I'll just like keep it. But I think you can definitely make the case for a high B tier for the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Okay, Iron Hands, oh for sure, definitely staying within the A tier. Again, now we said this before. Iron Hands was an A tier Pokemon without Miraidon. Okay, remember those formats. Now you add Miraidon, and now you get to use your Cork Drive ability. Now you get that +1 attack boost. And now you're doing a lot of damage, whether you're in Trick Room or not, okay? So Iron Hands, Drain Punch, great into Terapagos too, right? Also pretty good into Miraidon too, technically. You do have, things to click into it. Miraidon does have sometimes a bit of a difficult time, especially if it's locked into an electric move. So, yeah. And then, you can Drain Punch Chi, you can Drain Punch Chenpao. These are all dark types that you can Drain Punch. You can also be really effective against the Urshifu for that matter. So I do like the Iron Hands in this type of format. I think A tier is 100% correct. The Wellspring is not that bad, but I do think it is a little bit more niche. I am going to drop it to at least high B tier, maybe even, is it high B tier? Maybe I might drop it to the low. Let me think. Yeah, I'm gonna drop it to the low. I think this is better. Okay, I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's as good as some of these other B tier options that we're gonna move in a bit. But the Ogerpon does get that Spidef boost, which is kind of good. Okay, that's gonna help against the special attackers. But there's so much Miraidon too. You do have this against the Surging Strikes Urshifu, right? So that's good. Okay, but besides the point there, you don't really want to tear this thing because there's so much Miraidon, Iron Hands, and Raging Bolt. So yeah, I guess you just not tear it and just rely on this water grass typing. You're not bad for instant stuff. You also do, and like we said, you do great into Urshifu. Not amazing into Rillaboom, and also not super great into Amoonguss. But again, at least you get to redirect things away from the Amoonguss. So unless they now carry, but now they carry Sludge Bomb and Clear Smog. So actually, you're going to be losing out there in essence. But I still think it has a decent role. It's still an Ogerpon, right? So I think low B tier is correct for it. Yeah, Goldango, listen, this is not Regulation H anymore, okay? I'm going to say Goldango is going to be like relatively niche, and you might even put it in the don't use tier, right? So we'll have to see, but again, there is some ideas behind Goldango, but nowhere near the behemoth it once was in Reg H. Okay, yeah, here we go. The Heart Flame Ogerpon definitely staying within the A tier for sure. Great damage, you know, +1 attack boost. Great into Rillaboom. This is why Miraidons love it. Okay, it's also pretty good, you know, with Surging Strike, Urshifu coaching stuff. But this main niche against Rillaboom does keep it within the A tier. It does a lot of damage. All right, this thing, you know, besides we'll call it the Chinese Groudon Sun team. Before that, this thing was going to be in the don't use tier. But now that it has that niche on those Groudon teams, all right, now we can actually bump it into that niche tier. It does get Howl, it does get Breaking Swipe, which is good because again, those Groudon teams they want to go with the Assault Vest. Okay, let's put that on the board for a second. All right, just so that you understand why we're putting it in the niche tier. So if you don't know what that Sun team looks like, make sure you know comment and ask what is the Chinese Groudon Sun team, and then I will respond and I will reply to you. But this was the team. It was the Groudon, and it also revolved around Gouging Fire, whether you were Terra Normal or not, besides the point. But you do have Breaking Swipe here, and you did have Flare Blitz in the Sun, okay? And you also had Howl, which is really good because, again, you get to enable this Groudon that usually would be carrying this Assault Vest. This was a booster energy. Okay, so now you can outspeed everything, and in the Sun, go for these hard-hitting Flare Blitzes and start picking up Okos. And then the Groudon, if it does get Intimidate, you click Howl and you outpace the instant that way, and then you can just click Precipice Blades or High Horsepower in essence, right? And then you still keep your bulk with the Assault Vest here. So I do like Gouging Fire only on this Groudon type of team. Outside of that, don't use it. Okay, Annihilate also not bad, like in a format where there's so much instant, but only really instant. I'm gonna say B tier. I think it's still okay. I'm not gonna lie. I think Ape, you know, I've seen the coaching Final Gambit stuff with the Scarf. That's gonna be good. So I do respect it in that sense. And then, you know, the ghost typing makes it so that you can't get faked out, right? So I do like Ape here a little bit. I think high B tier is correct. Maybe even low B tier. Maybe we'll make an adjustment later. But I do think Ape within the high B tier is okay. I'm still debating. Nah, I'm gonna put it in the low B tier. I think it's close. I think low B tier is okay for now. Maybe I'll change it later, but I don't think it is as good as it once was in Regulation H. But it is still like pretty good. All right. King Gambit, one of my favorites, of course. It's some other people's favorites too. Again, another defined Pokemon. This is not Regulation H, but you are a Dark type, so you still have Sucker Punch pressure against the Calyrex stuff. Okay, but there's Urshifu now, and that's the problem. Okay, there's so much Urshifu, and there's more Iron Hands now. There's Blood Moon. Okay, so, and there's even Chenpao Sacred Sword. So I'm gonna have to knock this down here. I think we can either put it here in the low B tier or maybe like a niche option here. I don't think I think this is not the format for Gambit, but maybe it can work on some teams. I haven't really seen it all that much, to be honest, but we'll have to see where we put the Gambit there. I think, yeah, maybe within the C tier. It hurts to put it there, but you know, the format just doesn't call for it right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it in the niche tier. I think that is correct for where we want it to be. Okay, Ursaluna. Yeah, Ursaluna's a pretty strong option here. I think, but is it within the A tier? I don't think it's as good as the Blood Moon, just because, you know, there's more instant now. You can intimidate this. We don't see as many Trick Room teams utilize this Ursaluna. If anything, it's just a little bit more Torkoal. I'm going to put in high B tier. I think high is actually okay for it. Alright, so Dondozo. Okay, so I feel like you have to put Dondozo, Tatsugiri together. It's all about that silly Calyrex team, you know, with the order up and the body press stuff. Yeah, man, that commands respect. I'm sorry, you have to. It does merit. This is the reason why Amoonguss is here. Okay, well, one of the main reasons, because again, you have Clear Smog, because you need to be able to remove those Iron Defense body press stuff, you know, which is great into everything, especially like Terapagos too. But yeah, it's so oppressive on that Calyrex team. So yeah, I think leaving it in the A tier is correct. The Tinglu, I think also just like, you know, it's kind of like the same idea with the Ogerpon and the Annihilate here. So ground dark typing, believe it or not, so you're mitigating a lot of damage. Okay, Miraidon's struggling a little bit here just because, again, ground, which means electric immunity, you're reducing damage as well from stuff like Chiyu and Fluttermane because of your ability. And then the dark typing is pretty good into the Calyrex Shadow Rider. Okay, and if they don't have a fairy move, then you kind of just sit in front of it, and then you can just snarl it. You can click, you know, Runation. You have Stealth Max if you want to go that direction. But I do think it has a role to play. I think it needs a little bit more exploration. I do like it sometimes with Calyrex teams, Ice Rider teams. We did try that before. It also is not bad with Zamazenta. I have seen that before too. So I think low B tier is actually okay for it. Ditto, very strong. Okay, I'm gonna leave this thing in the A tier. I think those Ditto teams, you know, with, you know, whether it's on the Calyrex team, the Koraidon team, or even on some of those Miraidon teams, I think the Ditto is quite good. But that being said, is it as consistent as some of these other options? Sometimes no. Maybe high B tier is a little bit better actually. Yeah, I'm gonna put in high B tier. I don't think it's like some of these big staples here. No, I'm gonna keep it in high B tier. But again, just being able to copy a restricted is so punishing, and when you release it at the right moment and you win that mirror because you have a sash/scarf, then the Ditto is the difference maker. Grimmsnarl, I think Grimmsnarl, you know, not quite the A tier, but still also pretty good. High B tier. You want like 10 moves, right? You know, you want Reflect, you want Light Screen, so these are good damage mitigation moves. Then you add Foul Play, which is great into both, you know, Calyrexes. And then you add Thunder Wave Speed Control, which is very punishing in its essence, right? So this is like a very standard Grimmsnarl set, but it's really good more. It's even stronger in a restricted format for sure. All right, the Smeargle. Smeargle, I think it's pretty good on some teams, especially the Calyrex Ice Rider teams. Again, just Spore, Fake Out, Wide Guard, what a set. And sometimes, of course, you get to see it on those Alolan Muck teams. Okay, thank you, Mr. Eric Mendoza. All right, so we'll keep it here within the high B tier. I think it's very good. I think it doesn't just only belong on those Calyrex teams. I think we have seen it do very well in a lot of other different squads. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it there. The support set is just way too good. This Landorus, so the other one's better than this one. Again, you do get Intimidate. You are ground type. You can find something against the Miraidon, but you know, if I really had to, I would probably just either pick this one or Blood Moon Ursaluna. I don't think I need this Landorus per se. I'm gonna say, do I really? Wow, am I really gonna put this in the don't use tier, or am I gonna put it in the niche tier? That is quite the question I'm gonna put myself here. Is it niche? I don't think so. I think those niches are much better. I don't really need this Landorus. If I wanted Intimidate, I'd rather use Instant, and if I needed a ground type, I'd rather use some of the others that we talked about. Holy smokes, I'm putting Landorus in the don't use tier. That is insane. All right, well, but it makes sense to me. All right, so we'll keep it there. After that, I almost thought this was the delivery. No, that is the Iron Bundle. I do like Bundle. I think it can work on those Miraidon teams too. Again, you do get Icy Wind. Okay, so like, don't sleep on this guy, by the way. Like, the fact that you are faster by 1 point than some of the other base 135s goes a long way. And you know, you get Icy Wind, which of course you know. You get Freeze Dry, you know, and with the key freeze on an opponent, that's going to be good for you. But again, just being that 1 point faster, I think goes a long way for the Iron Bundle. But that being said, you'll be hard pressed to replace Urshifu with this type of water type. So I'm gonna say it's still niche. I'm gonna say, yeah, I don't know. Is it low B? Maybe. I haven't seen it that much yet. All right, I think C tier is correct. I'm gonna drop it down there. The P2. So again, you do have that normal typing, which means two things. One, you're weak to Urshifu and Iron Hands, and two, you do have some immunity against the Calyrex. Okay, so that's good, right? Pros and cons. Pretty good on Trick Room teams. You got Foul Play. You have Eerie Impulse too, right? I think Porygon now gets to really, really cripple Miraidon and Calyrex teams, just because you can use Eerie Impulse now. You just have to watch out for Zamazenta Koraidon stuff, which is why you're gonna definitely go like Terra Ghost on most of these Porygon. So yeah, go figure there. I don't think it's A. I do think it's within high or low B tier. I'm gonna say for now, I'm gonna say low B tier. I think that's also okay for it. Okay, Glimora. So if you wanted the Toxic Spike stuff and the poison damage, Weezing is the go-to option right now for sure. Okay, but can Glimora find a role? I don't know. I think if you want, you rather just use the Weezing. So, man, yeah, another one that I'm gonna put in the don't use tier, right? Yes, it does do well with Dondozo, but Dondozo's got a new friend, and that friend is Weezing. So, goodbye Glimora. That's kind of tough, man. Torkoal, obviously, really good on those Trick Room teams. Eruption is still very dominant, and you have to respect it. But again, you only really see it on those hard Trick Room teams. But you can also use it to enable your Photosynthesis mons as well, right? So I do like Torkoal. I'm gonna say high B tier. I think that's a good place for it. Then don't forget, you also get Clear Smog, which is also going to be useful against Dondozo too. You get Weather Ball, which is also very nice. But again, the key selling point is that Eruption in Trick Room. All right, D-Knight. All right, so this is no longer the Scale Shot Behemoth in Regulation H. It is now the Extreme Speed Behemoth bot in Regulation G. Very good with Chien-Pao. Just because you have that Terra Normal, you can one-shot a lot of different things now with your Extreme Speed. And then that normal typing is pretty useful against the Calyrex, Shadow Rider. And then you get some other moves like Outrage, Aqua Jet, Aerial Ace, that kind of thing. So D-Knight does have a role to play this time around. It's just a different role than what it once was. I do think Pao Knight is very good. But are you high B tier or are you low B tier? That one is something that I am wondering about. I'm gonna keep it in high B tier. I think D-Knight can be quite useful here, but I may drop it down a little bit more into the low B tier because I don't know, is it as good as some of these guys? You know what, I'm gonna put it in the low B tier. I think this is actually correct for it. All right, that being said, where are we now? Volcarona, another one just like Amoonguss that can do really well in front of Zamazenta. Again, because you have that bug typing. And look at that Volcarona set. This is also on that Groudon team, by the way. So let me remove this stuff. That's Volcanion, by the way. That is not Volcarona. So Volcarona also you'll see with Terrapagos, because again, you've got Rage Powder. You've got Will-O-Wisp ideas. You have Flame Body already. And then you do have Tailwind support, okay? So you got a lot of good support moves here. You got Speed Control, you got Damage Mitigation, and Redirection. So that's really nice. And then you gotta have one attacking move. This could be Heat Wave, this could be Overheat, either way. And then you can add Rocky Helmet here, just to, help you chip damage against Urshifu and also against Zamazenta. Amoonguss also loves Rocky Helmet for Urshifu as well. So does the Incineroar Rocky Helmet. That's also really good against Urshifu too. So yeah, I do like Volcarona on some of these teams for Zamazenta and also, technically for Koraidon. So you'll probably see that a little bit more on some of those teams. But that's about it. I think low B tier is correct for it. Again, it has a decent niche for it, but that's about it. All right, Mienshao. So strong fighting type that can one-shot Instant. You're fast. You got Fake Out. You got Wide Guard. And you got you're a great partner on the Calyrex teams. So you know, I do think you can be within the high B tier. But other than that, are you... Let me think about this. Where can I put you? High B tier or low B tier? I don't know. It's really like mainly on some of those Calyrex teams and on a couple others. I don't think it's like splashable like some of the A tiers, but are you as good as some of the other B tier mons? I think right here is okay. I think low B tier is okay. I think you're definitely much better than some of these C tier guys, right? But I think where we have it right now is like okay for me and Xiao. All right. What else we got? We've got Arkelonon, we've got this Ogerpon, and then we've got Roaring Moon. Okay, so I think Arc also can go in the high B tier. It's really mainly on those Kyogre teams, right? So I think again, no longer the behemoth, just like with Pelipper stuff that it was in Regulation H, where it was like, you know, low S or like high A tier. So now Arkelonon's, you know, role slightly changed a little bit. It's still gonna go with like the Assault Vest stuff. You can also add Snarl to it now, just for, again, a little bit more damage mitigation. You've got Electro Shot with Kyogre in that rain. So that's really good. And then again, Body Press. So that's also pretty good against your Terapagos matchup. It's also pretty good against Instant and some Urshifus, right? So again, Urshifu's gonna have a hard time breaking this, especially if it wants to click Close Combat. If you've already got a couple of defense boosts, then yeah, you're kind of just chilling from here. But you know, outside of that Kyogre squad, I don't really see it, and for that reason, I'm gonna put this in the C tier. Yep, I think that's correct. I don't see this thing played outside of Kyogre. I really don't, and I don't think you guys either. So I think the C tier is definitely merited here. I think this Ogerpon is also pretty good. Like the grass one with Defiant, you get his nice speed boost. I think it's actually solid. I'm gonna say low B tier. You know, I think it does need a little bit more exploration, but I do think that Ogerpon definitely within high B tier or low B tier for sure. All right, Roaring Moon. Okay, so we've seen this thing a lot. Okay, not just on those Kyogre teams, but you know, just to give you a sense of what it's supposed to do. Dark typing. You know, you've got Tailwind support, you've got knockoff pressure, and then you've got the acrobatics stuff against Rillaboom and Amoonguss stuff. So you've got Roaring Moon here for that. Sometimes it's within the same role as Iron Jugulis, but you know, you don't get intimidated and you get Snarl with Jugulis. So I think they're both going to be within the same tier once I get to the Jugulis, but pretty good against the Calyrex, good at removing items, Tailwind speed control. You're pretty fast too. You have 119 speed here. And then here's the thing, when you add this on those Weezing teams, okay, you are faster, right? So therefore you get to click Tailwind first, because they don't get to have Prankster, right? So your 119 speed is faster than those Tornadus/Whimsicott teams. So you're gonna have the faster Tailwind in that sense, right? So I do like it on for that reason, you know, on those Calyrex teams. I think B tier is still correct though. Is it high B tier or low B tier? I'm gonna say, let's keep it, this is tough. I'm gonna say low B tier for now. I think this is like a pretty decent mon, but is it high B tier? Is it like within Jugulis range? I kind of like Jugulis a little bit more, but Roaring Moon is also still like pretty good. Again, it just got quote unquote second in the regional. It's tough. It's tough. I'm not gonna lie. It is tough. I don't. I'm gonna say right here. Yeah, let's keep it in high B tier for now. When we do like the full final, you know, recap of our list, maybe we'll drop it. But I do think at least it does fall within this range. I think that's correct. All right. Now, as far as like this, yeah, I think all of this can stay within the A tier. Like again, Indeedee also like really, really good. Like Psychic Terrain. Is it as good as some of these guys though? Nah, I'm gonna put it also in like the high B tier. I think again another one that's also like really solid, but I don't think you're gonna be able to splash it on as nearly as much as some of these guys. But again, you get Psychic Terrain, you deny priority, you get Trick Room access, you get redirection. So Psychic female Indeedee, you know, a little bit more niche than some of these guys, but again, you know what this thing is supposed to do. I think high B tier is always going to be correct on a restricted format like this. Calyrex can't click Astro Barrage, you can't click Psychic, so you know, you got some resistance and immunity there. So for that reason also, I think high B tier is 100% correct here. Okay, So we've emptied out some of the A tier, but some of these guys in the B, C, and down here, we might even push them up into the A tier. Again, I borrowed this list, so we're just simply adapting it. Okay, so we're going to continue onwards here. Now, there is one thing that I want to do a little bit just to thin out this list before we move forward. There's a lot of water types here, okay? So here's the thing with a water type. Okay, besides Urshifu, you're kind of hard-pressed to be in this format just because there's so much, you know, Miraidon, there's so much Raging Bolt, there's so much more Iron Hands, there's also a lot of Rillaboom running around. Okay, so it's going to be hard to be effective, you know, besides if your name is not Urshifu, right? And yes, there is Dondozo and Pelipper stuff, but they have very, very specific niches that can put them over the top, right? And we have already discussed those. The one that I think can be in the niche tier is a Gastrodon. I think Gastrodon, because of that ground typing and Storm Drain, gives you a pretty decent matchup into Urshifu and the other electrics considered, just because, again, you do have that ground typing. So I do think Gastrodon can be in that niche tier, but these other water types, I think we're just going to dump them straight into the don't use tier, right? So, for example, right over here, something like Primarina. Again, this is not Reg H anymore. You don't get to come out and play, so you get to go down there. Walking Wake, we'll talk about a little bit more in a second, but I think we can also put this in the C tier, but I wanted to explain why. Suicune, ooh, man. All right, you know what? I'm gonna keep it. It's tough, right? So maybe I think I can find a niche for it. Yes, I understand there is like Tailwind, Snarl, and Icy Wind. All right, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna put that in C tier. You know, I think Suicune does have enough bulk where it can do something, but again, not so great either. But after that, who else do we got here? Just in terms of our water types, I do think, yeah, same thing, like Gyarados over here. Like, again, not Reg H anymore. Intimidate, yes, but we have Instant, so we don't really need our Gyarados. What else is running around here? Yeah, Palafin, same thing. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Urshifu is taking over. Sorry. You know, you had your time back in Reg A and stuff. Same thing, Milotic. You know, again, you can say it does have a niche a little bit, you know, just because of competitive and Icy Wind spam for like the instant stuff and other Flutter Mane shenanigans. But again, just Rillaboom, Grassy Terrain, Grassy Glide, and then the electric stuff is just too much into it. I don't think you need to use Kingdra. I think just Basculegion is just better if you want to use a Swift Swim user. So we'll just dump that here as well. Who else is another water type that we can just chuck immediately? All right, that's pretty much it over here. Then what about the niche tier? We put Iron Bundle there ourselves. Yeah, Rotom Wash, same thing. Then, yeah, oh yeah, what's this? Quaquaval. Again, fighting type could be okay into something like Terrapagos, but you do need some setup and it's just not worth it. You'd rather just use Urshifu, another water fighting type that's just better, right? So just dump it there. Greninja, same thing. This is not Reg H. You do have Haze though, so that might come in hand. You know what? You know, water dark type. Okay, so you do have the dark typing that could be okay into the Calyrex, but is that worth it? I feel like if I wanted a dark type, I'd rather just use something else. But you know, you do get Haze, so maybe there's something there for Dondozo, but as of right now, I don't think you need it. Vaporeon, same boat. Chuck that down there. Okay. Yeah, all right. So we've thinned out some of the water types. Okay, so now we can get back to the B tier list over here. So we put this stuff right over here. So I think Overqwil again is another type of niche Pokemon that again you'll only find on some of those rain teams. But even then, I do respect the poison typing there. But is this actually worth it? You know, it does get Intimidate too, but is that okay? I think we can find other niches for it, but I don't think it's as bad as like the don't use tier. I think you can definitely like use it on those rain squads, but you know, I'll just keep it there. It is like, again, if I look at Overqwil, right, you do have that dark poison typing. Okay, so you do have something there for the Calyrex. So we can use it. Okay, I just don't think it's great, you know, outside of some of those teams. But again, I will give it the benefit of the doubt just because of that typing and the axis of moves that it does have for. Okay, after this, I do think Entei stays exactly where it is. You know, Sacred Fire, Pressure, you know, with Chien-Pao is really, really good. Extreme Speed. Okay, you also get access to Snarl, Stomping Tantrum too. I think it's a great support Pokemon with Zamazenta. It's also pretty good on some of those Groudon, Koraidon teams because Sacred Fire does more damage than the Sun. You know, you have a base speed 100, just like Chiyu, so there's that. I think Basculegion, same thing here, you know, also can stay within like a high B tier. You could even like technically drop this into like lower B tier just because outside of ring, you don't really like quote unquote see it. So yeah, somewhere between like low high B tier or like high low B tier, right? Something like that. But I think it needs the ring, right? So for that reason, I will drop it. If it didn't, then I would probably leave it in the high B tier, but it does. So yeah, Dragapult. So here's the one niche for Dragapult, okay? And it's kind of funny, all things considered. You are faster than Calyrex, okay? Which means you can click a super effective ghost move into it, right? You don't get intimidated. And Zamazenta can't body press you, right? Because you are a ghost type. So, and then you can have like these support moves like Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Wave, okay? You can also do like light screen stuff. Remember, like support Pult. So there's something that you can do there. But outside of that, I think it's just relatively niche. I think, yeah, I think there's better formats for Dragapult, but this ain't quite it right now for it. All right, so Gallade also, I think again just mainly on those Trick Room teams, does get Wide Guard. So Wide Guard is also really good, just like Mienshao, right? Another fighting type with Wide Guard. Does well with Indeedee terrain, but outside it, you're not really gonna see it. But still, like, okay, puts pressure on Terrapagos, of course, right? So, you know, it's pretty good on some of those teams. The Jugulis, I do like the Jugulis. You know, again, I might even just like put it next to the Roaring Moon here. Snarl and Tailwind, okay, that's the name of the game. Snarl and Tailwind. You do get booster energy, so your Tailwind will be faster, right? So that's cool. Yeah, I think high B tier is okay. Arcanine, I think again, nah. I think, you know, just like Gyarados, you know, we don't need it. There was a time where like Mirror Herb Arcanine was a thing, but you know, not anymore. Not in a power creep format like this. Kamo-O, so Iron Defense, Body Press Kamo, right? That's the set for it this time around. You know, especially with Terrapagos and whatnot. And then you can really hammer on those Urshifus too. So I do think Kamo does have a specific niche for it. You know, is it like low B tier? I don't think it's high B tier. I think we're either gonna put it in the niche tier or like in the low B tier, somewhere along these lines. I'm gonna put it right here. Yeah, I think this is correct for Kamo. Again, Iron Defense, Body Press still like relatively solid. I may bump this up, you know, to like the low B tier. But I think there's other options for Iron Defense, Body Press if I really wanted to use it. But I will give it some respect in at least this regard. But again, much better in Regulation H, but not right now in Reg G. So its role is a little bit more niche over here. All right, Araquanid, you do get Wide Guard. Okay, so don't sleep on this bug. Okay, this bug, okay, on Trick Room is actually quite decent. And again, it can sweep. Okay, so let me put Araquanid on the screen. Okay, so you are faster than the Calyrex in Trick Room, right? And like we said, you do get Wide Guard. So, you know, this is one of the few water types besides Urshifu that actually can have an interesting role in the format. But, you know, outside of that, I think it's still like relatively niche. You only really see it on those Trick Room teams, and that's pretty much it. All right, Umbreon, also another one that's like somewhat niche because, again, you do have that dark typing. You know, what's really cool about Umbreon set, you know, it has like some cool support moves. You do get Foul Play for the Calyrex Ice Rider and sometimes the Shadow Rider too. You get Snarl for that as well. Then you get Yawn Pressure, which is really cool. Okay, and then this other move here can be something else. But Foul Play, Snarl, Yawn, that's the name of the game. You force positioning, you know, by, you know, making them make a choice. Either you go to sleep or you switch out. Again, that dark typing is going to be good, you know, for that Shadow Rider matchup. Umbreon does a little bit better in this format than it does in like some other previous formats because it has an actual more defined role. So yeah, I think that's where we want it. Heatran, so oddly enough, Heatran, just like Ceruledge over here, you know, I think it's also like relatively niche, you know, just because you can sit in front of Koraidon, Miraidon teams a little bit. Okay, no, I'm sorry. But again, like that fighting weakness, like Ceruledge and Chandelure, that's the one I really wanted to talk about. Where's the Chandelure? Holy smokes. Oh, is it in here? No way. Nah. We gotta save it. Where are you, Chandelure? We're gonna save you right now. Okay. I might need some time to actually find it. Did I skip it? Holy smokes. Where are you, Chandelure? Okay, we'll find it in a second. You know, I may have to like pause the video, but yeah. Heat Trend a little bit more niche. Again, flash fire, so you get to soak up the flare blitzes and whatnot. I don't really see anyone really using Heat Trend. Okay, but you do get flash cannon for some of the fairies, but outside of that, I don't know. Do I really want it? Yeah, I think the fighting weaknesses and Urshifu is too much. Nah, I'm gonna put it here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like rationale for it, but I'm like, flash fire is just not enough. Okay. Now, if you had the ghost typing, all right, then we can merit some use there, because then you sit in front of Koraidon and Zamazentities, because they can't even hit you at that point. All right. So yeah, I will rationale for Ceruledge in the C tier, and I will rationale more for the Chandelure as soon as I can find it. Oh, there you are. There you are. I found you. Okay. So yeah, we put you at the end here. So let me put you right in front here. Yeah, definitely a little bit more. If I had to pick between two, I'm definitely picking Chandelure. You get access to Trick Room. You don't care about Intimidate. You're a pretty good, strong special attacker for sure. That funny niche, you know, for Zamazenta Koraidon, definitely a little bit more than the Ceruledge, in my opinion. Okay, Wo-Chien, same thing. Again, you know, not nearly as powerful as some of the other Paradox Pokemon, but again, you can mitigate physical damage. You do have Snarl Pressure, Leech Seed Shenanigans is also okay. You get the Pollen Puff. We did see this on that Justin Tang Kyogre team back then, so you do have some results there. But outside of that, where else are you really seeing the Wo-Chien? I think C tier is correct for where we want it. Moltres. Okay, so Moltres, definitely, you know, within the B tier, but I'm going to say low B tier. Great partner for Zamazenta. Why? Because Zamazenta has trouble hitting ghost types. Moltres can hit that. Moltres can't really hit the dark types very well. Zamazenta can deal with that. So good partners altogether for those two. And, you know, Wide Guard support is going to help the Moltres survive the Glacial Lance shenanigans, right? And then you get to click Fiery Wrath against the Ice Rider safely, and then the Ice Rider can't even click High Horsepower into the Moltres because you are a flying type. And that, by the way, is a good pivot for Zamazenta, you know, the ground coverage move into it, so it gets whiff because you switch out into your flying type. So I do like it, and Berserk is the thing, so if Urshifu wants to click Surging Strikes and dip below the halfway point, so be it. We can make this thing actually relatively bulky. I do like it for the low B tier. Alright, Screamtail, another good Pokemon here. I'm going to leave it where it is. I think Screamtail is another good support Pokemon. Encore Disable is like soul punishing. You guys have no idea if you never went up a Screamtail or even used it yourself. It's really good with Terrapagos because you get to disable the body press stuff, so that's also really nice. To boost your energy, gives it that speed to be like kind of fast. So yeah. The Hisuian Lilligant here. So outside of that Torkoal team, you know, with like Necrozma Duskmane or something like that, not Duskmane, Dawnwings, you don't really see it. So, you know, we'll put it in the niche, but that's pretty much it. All right, Walking Wake. So another one that's like within the niche tier. Like we did see this a couple times, you know, on some Groudon Koraidon teams. I just think Raging Bull is just a better option, you know, besides that. I wouldn't run both. Yes, you do get Hydro Steam and Flamethrower, but I'd rather just have Bolt and Slash Fluttermane. I think those are a little bit better. Iron Crown, again, also can do okay, you know, with the Indeedee Psychic Terrain stuff. You do get Tachyon Cutter, which is great, into, you know, Fluttermanes and Chenpows, and Breaking Sash, you know, against something like a Whimsicott. So there's that. And then pretty useful, again, clicking Expanding Force, especially when you have Indeedee. You can, you know, do well into the Urshifus. You get to outspeed it. So, but yeah. But other than that, I think C tier at most is what we want out of it. The Comfey, I think also, you know, again, another C tier mon. Yes, you get Trick Room. Yes, you have Triage. Yes, you have Floral Healing. It was a decent partner for Terrapagos at some point in the early goings of Regulation G back in the summer. But outside of that, you don't really see it. I guess maybe on some of those Lugia teams, but like who's really like using that Lugia stuff? All right. Then we got some of these guys over here. All right. I'm gonna just say right now, I don't think we really need Salazzle. I think that's gonna go here in the D tier. All right. Hatterene. So like, yeah, expanding force stuff with Indeedee, of course, but outside of that, you know, you don't really see it. Regidrago. You do see, you know, with the Tailwind stuff with Zacian. Again, they help create pins for each other. If you want to resist the Dragon Energy stuff, you go Terra Fairy, but now you're weak to Behemoth Blade, right? So there is that ongoing synergy there. But again, outside of that, I think, I don't know, is it niche? I think it can do like, it can also have like some roles outside of it, and then be on some of the other hyper offensive teams. So for that reason, I can bump it up here into low B tier. Nah, I'm gonna just keep it in C. I think outside of that Zacian team, that's pretty much it. That's the only place where it's getting results, you know, with that Zacian hyper offense, right? So I'll leave it there. Cresselia, you know, again, if this wasn't a restricted format, would be okay. But again, there's so much Calyrex. I think we just have to just put it here in the don't use tier. There's better Trick Room setters. The Hisui and Gudra, same thing. There's a lot of Urshifu. They'll just crit right through, more or less. I think we can find other formats where we can use the Hisui and Gudra. This ain't one of them. But that being said, you know, I do say that, but again, another one with Iron Defense Body Press. All right, we'll put it here. All right, I think that's okay. What else do we have here? Serena, another one. Serena like can be okay. You know, it's a great partner with Kyogre, and you'll see teams like this. You know, well, let me just remove some of these mons like Tornadus, Kyogre, and then Serena, like the Sar Ogre stuff. So yeah, right here. Again, the whole idea with Serena is you get to stop priority from Raging Bolt and Rillaboom into the Kyogre, and then you have Triple Axle, you know, to remove them right back, because again, they're both weak to ice. So I do think Serena does have that role at the very least, so that's going to be good. But outside of that, you're not really going to see the Serena. So for that reason, I think we can just put that thing in the niche tier, I would say, right? Yeah, where are you? I just had you. Yeah, right here. Okay, then we've got, all right, so, you know, Armor Rouge, again, you do get Wide Guard, but just like Hatterene, you know, only really on those Trick Room teams. So this thing, you know, we got to see this in the World Championships. It has Wide Guard, it has Close Combat, it does have Spirit Break, you can be somewhat fast, it has Coaching, so it has some decent viability here, but you only really see it on those Calyrex squads, right? So outside of that, I don't think it does as well, so I think niche tier is correct. Then we have Iron Moth over here. We did just see Iron Moth get a result, more or less, or like at least some results, you know, with Rio de Janeiro. It does have Acid Spray. You can pair this with Miraidon a little bit, so I guess we can put it in the C tier besides that, but I think there's other options for a fire type if we're gonna go for that. But we did see it, so we'll put it there. I think Sinistcha is interesting. Again, another ghost type that, you know, can match up into Zamazenta. We can click Will-O-Wisp stuff into it. Not Will-O-Wisp, Matcha Gacha, right? Urshifu does struggle sometimes a little bit against the Sinistcha. So I think C tier is actually okay for it. But yeah, all right. So we've weeded down our high B tier a little bit. Okay, we didn't put anything up. All right, we just kept it like this. And then we expanded a little bit on our low B tier. We added the Moltres and whatnot. So yeah, now let's look down in the low B tier and let's weed out some of those. Okay, I just realized I forgot two other options over here. So Ninetales and the Hisuian Arcanine. So again, Ninetales, this is not Reg H anymore. I think the rain and the sun stuff is the more dominant weathers. I'm gonna say don't use. I'm actually gonna say that. And then the same thing with the Arcanine over here. Where are you? There's too much Urshifu around. I think I gotta drop you down here as well. Yeah, I mean, Screens is really good, but if I wanted Screens, I'd rather just have Grimmsnarl, in all honesty. Yes, you do get some weather control, but is that as important right now as it is then like Reg Age? I don't really know per se. And you know, with so much these other mons running around, I just don't think you need it. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens a little bit more further on with the Ninetales. But right now, I think this looks okay, and this looks okay, and some of this looks okay, right? You know, we still have to make some adjustments over here, but I do like where a lot of this is heading. So yeah, right here, yeah, this looks like high B tier more or less. Maybe, you know, no, this is low B tier. Yeah, all right. So Magmar and the Electabuzz stuff. Okay, yeah. Again, same thing. Like again, you can still they're still like bulky redirectors. Like we've seen these. We've seen the Electabuzz on that Cali Ice Rider team. Magmar a little bit less, but still like pretty good. Same thing. Will-O-Wisp, good redirector. Vital Spirit can't get slept on. I think can do okay into Zamazenta as well. So yeah, Latios was on that you know, that Zamazenta team that did get a result or two, you know, in some regionals. So I do think I think C tier is a little bit more appropriate though. You know, again, Tailwind support really good. Psychic damage, nuking stuff like Urshifu and Amoonguss. So you know, I think that's respectable for it. Regieleki, I think within the B tier is correct. I don't know if I want to bump it up into the high B tier. It's a really great piece with the Landorus stuff. So like Regieleki, Landorus, okay, and then you had the Cali Ice stuff, right? So like it was Calyrex Ice Rider, and then you had the Ogerpon, right? It was something like this. So you know, good pieces there. This is still like a pretty good team. And again, the whole idea is that you have Electro Web for more speed control against the Shadow Rider 2, right? You are faster than it, and then the Landorus can outspeed it and potentially just KO it. So you have that going for you. Then you can always like Volt Switch out, you know, just deal some chip damage, set up Trick Room, bring something else in. I think that's also okay for it too. It's great into Urshifu too, you know, you get to zap it. But again, there's just more Raging Bolt, there's more Iron Hands. Those are like better options, and that's kind of why Regieleki hasn't been used as much in Scarlet and Violet as it was back in like Sword and Shield. That being said, I still think it's okay. I do think I think we'll leave it at low B tier. I think that's like appropriate for where we want it. I think maybe you can make the case where you can bump it up into the high B tier. But yeah, I think low B is like okay for it right now. Bronzong, so Iron Defense, Body Press, Trick Room stuff. So you know, you have pretty good stats here, right? Levitate, again, you have that ground immunity for something like Landorus. You can't click your Earth powers. You can't even click Sludge Bomb into this. So Bronzong looks really good here. And then, you know, the only thing is, of course, the Calyrex. Does this thing get what? No, it doesn't get Wide Guard. I was going to say, like, yo, if this thing got Wide Guard, then this thing would be busted. I would put this thing in, like, almost A tier, right? But I think, you know, I think C tier is also correct for it. Again, a little bit more of a niche Trick Room setter, just like the Sinister over here, but it can do okay on some types of teams, right? Tyranitar, same thing. Like, you know, it's all about the sun and rain right now. Sand had its chance. Reg H, all 4 weathers were viable, but not anymore. Not with all this power creep. Again, Dark typing can do pretty decent, very well into the Shadow Rider. I will say that. But the problem is there's Urshifu, and there's also Rillaboom. And those 2 Pokemon were the reason why Tyranitar went extinct in Sword and Shield. It's the same case here, though these guys are back, especially the Urshifu too, right? So, yeah, we're going to have to drop Mr. T-Char down here into the C tier. Gothitelle, same thing. I think the trapping stuff is really good with Urshifu, right? And the Perish Trap stuff. But again, Trick Room ideas, I think C tier is also still like okay. Hydreigon, I don't think we need the Hydreigon anymore. You know, it had its time. You are Dark type. You could be useful, you know, against some of the Shadow Rider stuff. So am I really going to put it, you know, in the D tier? I'm not so sure. Let me just put it in the low C tier for now. Flamigo, again, you know, something else, not Reg H anymore. We don't have to like worry about intimidate stuff, but again, you are a fighting type. You can close combat the what's that thing called, the Terrapagos, but that job is a little bit better defined by the Urshifu, I would say. But do we have a role for you in this time around? Not really. Let's just put you here in the don't use it. You had your fun, Flamigo. You had your fun. The regular wheezing, again, neutralizing gas is a thing. So yeah, we can do that. You can take away abilities, which is important. The other one is I can leave here. I think the other one's much better than that one. That one, you know, is a pretty good piece on those Calyrex, Shadow Rider, Dondozo teams. It's a very good enabler for it too. You know, the poison, chip damage, along with the toxic spike stuff, chips things a lot, and then the Shadow Rider just picks up, the Dondozo picks up. I think it's very devastating right now. It's one of those things you have to prepare for heading into San Antonio. So I do think low B tier is correct for it. Terrakion, holy smokes. It's been a hot minute since I've seen a Terrakion. Yeah, man, let's just put you down here real quick. Okidogi's pretty okay. Again, the gunk shot, the fighting stuff, pretty good into Terrapagos. You know, I know some people are like trying to Sneasler stuff now with Miraidon. Okidogi can, you know, fulfill some niche role in there as well. So I think honestly, both Okidogi and Sneasler can be in the C tier. I think I actually saw Sneasler all the way down here in the don't use tier, right? Somewhere around here. Yeah, oh my god. Yeah. So for a while it would have stayed there, but now that we see it getting some results on that Miraidon team, you know, with the electric seed stuff, with coaching into the Iron Hands and the gunk shot stuff, now you don't need the Iron Claw anymore. C tier is correct for Sneasler for sure. All right. Don't use the Titan. Let's drop you down here. Oranguru, pretty niche with the telepathy stuff. Inner Focus Trick Room. So yeah, that's okay. Metagross, no. Alright, we did see the copycat strat with Sylveon, Noivern and stuff. But like, is that enough to like, you know, say, oh yeah, you can use it? Nah, I don't think so, bro. I think let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Baxcalibur, same thing. You know, you had your fun in Reg H. It's not fun anymore for you. Lycanroc, you know, you get the Endeavor stuff, but is that worth it? No, not anymore. All right. The Muck stuff is niche. You know, it's always going to be niche with the evasion shenanigans. The Iron Boulder can have a niche. Okay. Again, you know, something like, you know, with the Urshifu stuff, where you get to ignore, protect with Mighty Swing. I understand it. I've seen some teams that have been able to utilize it. Very niche though. You know, you might even put it in the don't use tier, but I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna say it's like relatively niche here. I think we don't really need it. Oh man, I'm looking all well, you know, some of these are actually usable. All right, we don't need Scissor anymore. That's good. Pheasantipity, I have not seen this thing used even in like the previous formats. Rabska, again, you know, mainly for Dondozo, but even then. Iron Defense Body Press Chestnut, okay, can be a thing. I do respect it. I don't think I respect it enough to put in the niche tier. I'm going to say don't use. Same thing with Articuno. We don't have Snow anymore. Garchomp. Oh, man. Garchomp, you had your fun, man. You had your fun, Mr. Garchomp. But, man, I hate putting Garchomp in the don't use tier. But it just doesn't... you don't really see it in the restricted formats. Skeledirge, Unaware is a thing, but, you know, there's not really things we need to be unaware for. Venusaur can be okay on those Koraidon, Groudon teams. Of course, the Sleep Powder shenanigans, not too bad either. I think we can put it there. The Thundurus, also like somewhat relatively niche. You have Eerie Impulse, you have Thunder Wave, you have Rain Dance. Yeah, is it worth it? Sure. I mean, I don't know. I think Grimmsong is just a little bit better. Same with like some of the other guys. This Lilligant, not worth the versus the other one. All right, I've seen the Decorate stuff with the Alchemy, yes, and then the Sweet Veil, okay. You know, we can put something there with the niche, so I think that's okay. Mousehold, also, I think, same thing, you know, again, normal typing, Friend Guard, so Calyrex can't really hit it all that well. It has to click a second move, Friend Guard, just like Clefairy, can do okay, make your team relatively bulky, but outside of that, you know, not a whole lot of roles for the mouse. So yeah, okay, so now we're looking at this. Okay, we've fleshed out a lot of different things. So we've got this for our A tier, this for like the higher B tier, and then this for like the lower B tier. Yeah, I like where some of this is going. All right, the C tier has a lot, okay, but again, they have like more defined roles. Some stuff, actually, I'm looking at it, we can definitely like bump up a little bit, but I do see some other stuff that we're just gonna straight like move down. Okay, but yeah, so I think now we're starting to really flesh out this tier list here. All right, this video is, you know, it's pretty much as long as it is right now. So we're gonna start fleshing out this niche tier. We're gonna get rid of a lot of this stuff. So, yeah, we added all of these into the niche tier, but again, these are like very specific on certain matchups. I still wouldn't like use some of these on some of these other squads, but I will say, yeah, we're gonna get rid of this guy. All right, this Alolan Sand Slash, Regigigas, you know, not worth using. Yes, I understand you could do that with the Wheezing stuff. You're a normal type with Wide Guard. Yes, there is some niche for it. I understand. I just don't think it's worth it. I think there's other like better Wide Guard users. There's so many other Wide Guard users. I don't think I need Regigigas to do that role for me, and even then with the Wheezing stuff. I will keep Cobalion though in the C tier. We just saw the day 2 result, you know, for Birmingham. So the budget Zamazenta Iron Defense body press shenanigans. Okay, yeah, I respect it. Reuniclus, no. Okay, then we've got Bramblegas, again, same thing. Sableye, okay, Will-O-Wisp, Gravity, Precipice Blades, I understand. I don't know. Alright, I'll still keep it in the niche tier. We can't use Dusclops anymore. Again, the Astro Barrage shenanigans. Okay, where are we? Salamence. Okay, again, like could be like not bad in Regulation H, but I think now we just have better options, you know, for the Ments. Haxorus, no good. Emboar, no good. Superior, no. Gengar, again, still no. This is not Reg H anymore. Empoleon, goodbye. You know, this thing even, you know, Great Tusk. Also, we don't need Brute Bonnet. Maybe, yeah, still Brute Bonnet still can have a niche. That Dark typing, Photosynthesis in the Sun. I understand it. I think we can keep it there. Corviknight, again, also can do Iron Defense Body Press, but again, I still, you know, I still think there's better options for it. I don't think we need it. The Tinkaton, you know, again, Mold Breaker, you know, Fate. I still understand the fake out stuff with it. It does get Thunder Wave. Is that worth keeping in the C tier? I don't know. Alright, you know what? It did get that Eternatus result, right? So, alright, we'll keep it there. No Infernape. Alright, yeah, no, Iron Leaves we can keep here. So, again, with Iron Leaves, it can do well on those Miraidon teams just because, you know, if you want to bring out Rillaboom, you get to use a grassy terrain. If you want to bring in Didi, you get to use Psyblades in second terrain. I understand it. It does get smashed by Instant and Urshifu though, so just be aware of that. I think C tier is okay for it. Where else are where are we? I think these guys are okay. Talonflame, we said, again, the Tailwind stuff. Galarian Zapdos, again, that fighting type with Defiance, so again, anti-instant stuff. Can click close combat into Pagos, I guess. I don't know. Is it worth it? You have to be hard pressed for it. Nah, I'm gonna just say it's not worth it. I think there's just better options. You know, if I had to use Galarian Zapdos. All right, Sandy Shocks can be decent, can be somewhat of a niche. You know, just because of that typing, you know, for Miraidon stuff. But even then, I think you're just working way too hard than you really need to. I don't think it's worth the work. Same thing with this Enamorous guy. I think we can chuck him. Extra Drill. This is not Reg H anymore. Low Cakes we can get rid of. What else are we looking at here? All right, this guy, the Grass Dino thing. Yeah, this thing, the Slither Wing, same thing. Alright, the Rabombi, this is not Reg H anymore. Alright, this guy we can keep here, right? Just because, again, mirror matchup with Miraidon. We saw this from Agati's team. Goldengo, yes, I think we can still keep in the C tier. Again, pretty good into Zamazenta. Look, you can't body press this thing. You can't heavy slam it. So you have that niche there a little bit. Sometimes it can do okay, you know, into the Ice Rider. You know, just because you have Shadow Ball / Make It Rain for that. You know, we've seen Terra Normal from it, but that's about it really. Meowscarada, again, dark typing, not bad, can be okay. Sometimes, maybe. Actually, no, not really. I mean, I'm just trying to rationale it. You know, again, dark typing for the Shadow Rider, but again, I was like, you know, I got other things, maybe. I don't know. It might need some exploration later on, but like for now, I think Rillaboom is just too good not to use as your grass type. The Rotom Heat, no thanks. Okay, so Garganacl does get Wide Guard, and then the Salcure stuff is a little bit interesting there. So I will keep it in the C tier. I think that's okay. And then yeah, I think yeah. See, like, this was like one of the other exceptions I made for Suicune. Yes, I've seen the Icy Wind Snarl Tailwind, those are like good support moves. So like, okay, yeah, that's something like that. Other water types were not giving me. I don't think Hydreigon. Like, okay, if I had to choose, like again, the Drugulus way more than Hydreigon. All right, so yeah, we can just drop him. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I'm looking at this now. Like every single one of these, you know, has had a role on a team that has had at least, you know, one or at least a couple results. So I will keep the C tier as it is, and same thing, you know, above over here. So now we gotta look down here in the don't use tier and start moving some stuff up if we can find anything, because we added a lot into the don't use tier. So yeah, let's just go down through this list here. So, you know, we'll try to be, you know, relatively objective as possible. A lot of this stuff, like, yeah, you know, was good in Reg H. Now it's not Reg H anymore. Power Creep is higher. We don't get to see some of this stuff. You know what? I want to put Swampert in the C tier because again, it's wide guard with the, you know, ground typing there, you know, for Miraidon. But then I remember there's like so much Rillaboom and Ogerpon stuff, so I'm like, nah, I'm gonna leave it in the high point of the don't use tier. So maybe it could get some usage later, but maybe, but right now, not so much. Slacking. All right, the Hariyama, I guess, has some merit there in some of those Trick Room teams. Does get wide guard too, so I guess you can make the argument there a little bit. Same thing with Murkrow here, but again, I just think Tornadus and Whimsicott are just better. I don't think we need to use Murkrow this time around. The Slow King, no. All right, these are, all right, here's another one. Like, again, I'm looking at Hitmontop here, and again, fake out wide guard fighting type, you know, for Pagos, but again, doesn't do that much damage versus some of the other fighting types. Does get Intimidate though. So, you know, this thing always has like some role in some of these restricted formats, but like right now, it's just no one, it's just not getting anything. Maybe it could get some uses later on, but right now, not so much. I did see a Dojio, you know, get a top gun in a turn. I was wondering maybe a little bit more later on. We'll see, but where else are we right now? We're here. I don't think anything else I can move up or down. Well, there is no more down. This is pretty much it. I've seen Altaria with some of those teams, you know, denying weather. All right, here. Oh yeah. All right, here's our Bastiodon. All right, here we go. We got to see some results there. It got 2 top 4 placements, right? Again, sturdy, right? So look, let's just put Bastiodon on here. So like sturdy, and again, iron defense, body press, right? But again, still like, you know, relatively niche. Again, slower than Ice Rider in Trick Room, so you've got that going for you. But outside of that, you're not gonna see it. And then as you scroll further down here, what are we finding? Nothing else really here. Drifblim, sorry, it's not Reg H anymore. Same thing with Weavile. You had your fun in the sun. You know, this thing is interesting. Like again, ground dark typing, just like Tinglu, you get Intimidate too, right? So there could be a niche for Crocodile. I'm not so sure. I'll just put it at the top of the don't use, you know, list right now. So maybe, but again, it's still like I just don't see the worth. Same thing with Vivian over here. I thought about this thing too, right? But there's so much Urshifu right now, you can just ignore the sash. It does get Rage Powder. It does get Tailwind. It's bug typing, right? It can resist Zamazenta stuff. But if I really wanted a bug to do that, I'd rather just use Volcarona. So we'll see. But I think it could merit some use later on. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. What else can I look at here? Wow, there's a lot. Jesus. All right, we did see that Noivern stuff with the Copycat, Cat, Sylveon. I'm not ready yet. I need another. I need more consistency. Mailing Didi. Oh yeah. Man, no, I think again, I just think the female one right now. We don't need this one yet. We did see some Frostmoth a little bit, you know, again, the wide guard stuff. I did see that, you know, towards at some point back in the summer, but I'm still not ready to at least bump it into the niche tier. Like at least these guys are like somewhat usable. And then there's some argument where like some of these guys can be like, nah, you're just working so hard, right? So Gastrodon, I guess, is the only other one I can say we can put up here into the niche tier. It's pretty good with so much Urshifu running around. again, the argument here is like this versus the Ogre Pawn, right? And at least with the ground typing, I get something into Miraidon a little bit, and it's something into like Bolt and Hands. But even then, you do get Yawn support though. I will say that you also get Clear Smog for Dozo a little bit. So there is some niche, but is it worth it? I don't know. But I will respect the Gashadon, and I will put it into the C tier. I think at least it does merit that much. Glastrier, I don't think so. And then some of these other guys. Yeah, it's over, right? Okay, so maybe Arboliva, yes, with the terrain stuff, maybe. But I just think Rillaboom is just so good right now. Same thing with the Orthworm here. Yeah, no, I'm not ready yet. Okay, Palmot, Heracross. This thing had its fun in Regulation H, and I think that's pretty much it. All right, so let me look at this one more time. Like, where are we? Okay. Yeah, so like right now, okay, so this is where our C tier looks like. Yeah, this looks just about right, just in terms of our C tier. Then we have these guys here. I'm looking at the P2. Like, do I bump it down all the way here? It's tough. Like, I know there's so much Urshifu, but I think the P2 is not all that bad. I think, again, I respect your Impulse, Recover, Trick Room stuff. I think it's pretty bulky. I think I'm gonna leave it like this. I think it's okay. All right, after that, yeah, this is our low B tier. This is our high B tier. And we've got the A squad. Yeah, so like, in summary, you know, you're trying to go to San Antonio, or you're looking for stuff, you know, to try and win some CP in your locals, right? But just use these guys, okay? Some of these C tier, yes, you can use, depending on, you know, the squad that you have, but like, these are the best mons, okay? And if you want to win, you got to use the best mons. So like, I think these are some of the great supporting partners that we have right now. I just realized we're missing the single strike Urshifu. And I don't know if that's something that I just missed, but I was looking for it and I did not find it. So we may have to like manually add it. But hey, if you made it this far, I think the single strike Urshifu is in the A tier. I just don't have it right now. So yeah, single strike Urshifu in the A tier. But that's about it. So I don't think there's anything else that we missed. But yeah, this is where our list looks like. All right, we got Fluttermane, Tornadus, Chiyu stuff, Chenpal, Landorus, Whimsicott. Yeah, these are very, very strong staples that you'll see right now. And then down here, you get the Indeedee Ditto stuff with the Torkoal Grimmsnarl shenanigans. Entei is also okay. Then the low B tier guys right here. And then some of the C tier guys can find its way on specific archetypes like Arkeladon into the Rain teams. Iron Leaves onto the Miraidon teams, Venusaur on the Sun team, Sneasler with Miraidon, right? So these guys have had some ideas in some of the squads here, but that's pretty much it for now. All right, so yeah, that's our list. So yeah, let me know if you disagree with anything that we have here, or if you think we missed something and we need to put it. Let me know. Again, this was a list that was given to me. It's not one that I made. I'm just simply like readapting it. Oh yeah, but is there anything here that we missed? Maybe the Urshifu's over here. I don't think so. These are just the restricteds and the baby forms, right? So yeah, no, there's nothing here that we missed. All right, so that's it for now. All right, so folks, again, if you need some help with San Antonio, okay, and you're looking to go and you need some help with your team building, just use this stuff. Otherwise, you know, if you need some help putting a squad together, make sure you reach out for coaching, okay? In our video description below and in the pinned comment section, you can click the link and sign up for coaching, and then we can sit down one-on-one via Discord call, and then we can hash out a team for you that you need for San Antonio, or for a local, for an online tournament, maybe just some rank ladder play. Even if you're not going to anything, we can help you out. So yeah, reach out, and then from there, we will schedule that meeting via Discord. You can join our Discord server right now. That's totally free, so you can do that too and interact with the rest of our community. If you want some, if you want to scrimmage for that matter, or if you just need to bounce off some team building ideas off of my other members, you can do that too. All right, but that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.